So it's been a little bit over a month since we've been playing Arknights, and I wanted to do my general review of the game, the franchise, the community, some of the different gameplay stuff. If you guys are looking for like an account overview where I'm at in the story, what units I've leveled, I will leave the link down in the description to the video that we did a couple of days ago, going over all that kind of details and stuff like that. So make sure to check it out after this video. Now, talking about just the gameplay, we're going to start off there. I got to say, whether it's the fact that it's just Arknights in general, I don't know what they're doing, because I've never really had too much interest in tower defense games. I've said this a couple different times in a couple different videos that I've never really had much appeal or much like attraction to tower defense games. They always look pretty fun, but not really my cup of tea. And I even thought that when I first originally saw Arknights, I was like, hey, characters look cool, the concept looks cool, but I don't think it's really going to be for me until I actually tried Arknights. So if you've never tried it and you're like on the fence about it, I definitely recommend that you give it a shot, because they do it in a way that it just makes it more fun. I don't know if it made me like tower defense games or if it's just the way that Arknights does it. So I just really like Arknights, and the tower defense game is just kind of a stack on top of it. I'm not really sure. It's just the fact that you have a lot of creative freedom. I feel like there's a lot of different teams that you can do. Of course, each chapter kind of has a gimmick, so you are a little bit limited to the fact that you have to kind of play around the gimmick a little bit, but there's a couple different characters that can really succeed at that gimmick and give you a little bit more of a fleshed out team. And it doesn't look like you always have to use meta units. It's not like a certain team for a certain stage and all that kind of stuff. Now, there does have meta units and it does have more efficient clears. That is part of the game, but it never feels like you have to do it that way. It's just more like, hey, if you want kind of a clear-cut path, you want it to be really easy, here's a couple meta units you can use. Here's a couple different teams you can use for a stage. You can look up guides and you can just kind of speed run everything if you want to. However, if you want to go down the creative path and you kind of want to go your own way, here's a couple different routes you can go. Maybe here's a couple different 2 stars, 3 stars you can kind of substitute if you're not willing to spend money or you didn't get lucky or whatever. So there seems to be a lot of different options, and that is one of the biggest appeals, is just seeing a unit. I'm like, I really want to use this person, and I'm going to find out how I'm going to use them and where I'm going to use them. Even if they're not the most effective, even though they're not the most efficient, I am putting them in, and I'm just going to use them because I think they're really cool. So the next thing I wanted to talk about is just the overall reactions that I've had to some of the PVs, the trailers, some of the different things that the devs have been doing on Twitter. I really feel like they have a passion for the game, and you can sense that whenever they're marketing, they're putting out these PVs, they're doing all the 3D animations and all the different trailers, and the music is incredible in this game. And I'm not even saying from like a mobile game perspective, it's almost some of the best music I've heard in general, like from a gaming company, a mobile company, whatever. It is some of the best kind of music I've heard in a very, very long time. And I grew up on like Final Fantasy music and all that kind of stuff, which I would say Final Fantasy is really good at making music too. So it's kind of in a high regard to me, the way that they're able to make OSTs and how they're able to encapsulate different feelings and emotions in their PVs and trailers and stuff like that. And I gotta say, I've had so much fun just looking at them. And even if there are like a little bit spoiler territory in a lot of these ones, it has just gotten me more and more hyped to see where that's going to go in the story. And I think they do very, very well at the different stories and telling the different, aspects and stuff like that. And like I said, with emotions. So that is something that I've really been enjoying, and I hope to be able to do a little bit more as we progress into the future of Arknights and stuff like that. So the last thing I wanted to talk about is going to be the community. I know this has been kind of back and forth depending on who you talk to. I've had like just so much support and so much love from the community, and I feel like it's just been growing and growing and growing. I've had super nice comments. I've had everybody kind of helping me out. The only time that I've ever had, like, I guess what I would say like a mutual comment or a neutral comment, is just somebody trying to backseat a little bit too much. But in my opinion, I think it's just out of like love. It's not really like, hey, you're an idiot, you're stupid. It's kind of like, hey, I see that you're trying. Here's something that you can try that may be a little bit more efficient. You're not using enough of your sanity. Here's some different ways to use that. I don't feel like it's more or less like, hey, you're just dumb. Don't do it that way, which is something that I've had happen in some other gaming communities and stuff like that. But I've seen a couple different comments floating around, a couple different videos saying that the Arknights community is a little bit toxic, or maybe they used to be. I'm not really sure. I'm only speaking out of experience from what I've seen, and I've seen just overwhelmingly positive. Like I said, you get a mutual person that just wants to kind of tell you how to play a little bit, but I think you get that out of every community, and they're just trying to help. I don't feel like they're trying to be mean or rude or anything. From their perspective, they're just trying to help a new person or whatever. So anyway, I've had a lot of beneficial conversations with people and a lot of different community building stuff around Arknights in general. So I got to say, my experience as a whole has been really positive around the community, and I can't stress how much I appreciate that. But anyway, guys, that is just going to be my overall view of 1 month. Might do it again in 3 months or whatever time we can kind of see there. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and leave it there. Have a good rest of your night, guys. Peace.